Okay, let's go ahead and bring up our market commentaries disclaimer. Again, just going to keep that on screen for a few seconds, and then we will get into the live stream. All right, thank you very much. Let's just start with our real rate. Here we go. And the top screen, the top candlestick chart is the real rate. We monitor this fairly closely. It's got the bearish reference candle in. It's moving down, and there's a little bit of blue. Underneath that, we've got the US dollar. It's got the reference candle, and then some blue. So it looks as if we've got downwards pressure on the weekly chart. And given the fact that there's some downwards pressure on the weekly chart with a little bit of blue, perhaps we have that rally in the downtrend scenario or the dip in the uptrend scenario. And what we're going to do is just take a look at some of the charts today to see if there are some opportunities available. So let's go ahead and start off with the US dollar. We're going to look at the US dollar daily chart, and we'll use that as the lead, and we'll draw some conclusions and make some inferences, starting off with the US dollar. All right, so here is the US dollar daily chart. Hey Raj, good morning to you and welcome as always. I'm just zooming in. And the US dollar is in zone 3. It's in zone 3. We have to be careful. There is a from Friday and from the jobs data, we do have this buying tail over here. We'll see if there's going to be some sort of pullback in the risk markets, as we suggested yesterday. But right now, just going purely towards a bias in terms of the daily chart and seeing if that's setting up something in terms of timing on the hourly chart. Hey Kim, good morning to you and welcome. All right, so we're in zone 3. So that is the weak area, and then we've got 2 blue candles. So that immediately suggests perhaps a rally in the downtrend. Well, if there's a rally in the downtrend, can we exploit that? And let's just go down to the US dollar hourly and see what needs to happen for that to play out. So just going to go ahead and bring up the US dollar on the hourly chart. Okay. So if there is going to be some sort of rally in the downtrend, if there is, then we're going to need to see a bearish cross in terms of the EMAs, okay? And we would need to see a bearish cross in terms of the stochastic. Now, we don't have either of those yet. We do have some resistance that's coming in over here. Okay, so here's some resistance. And if that resistance holds, we'll look to see if it's a key reaction and if it pushes to the downside. Okay, so let's just see if it pushes to the downside here, and then that would be realigning the hourly chart with the daily chart. Now, we should stop right there and say there is going to be a very important data announcement, something scheduled on the calendar for today that we must pay attention to. It's going to be one of the catalysts for the dollar, and that of course is CPI, and the CPI is coming through at 2:30 p.m. ZA time, which would be the same as 12:30 p.m. UK time. So 12:30 p.m. UK time, there is going to be the inflation data, the consumer price index. And if that comes in higher than expected, it's actually going to give legs to the dollar. If it comes in showing signs of moderation, then I think we may react off of this key reaction level, and we may get the movement to the downside. All right, so we just got to see how the CPI releases today. Now, if we get the crossovers, okay, because we don't have them yet, we would need to see some sort of movement towards the lower quintile. And if we get a movement towards the lower quintile and it holds there, then we would have a potential rally in the uptrend, a rally in the downtrend, which we can potentially exploit. Now, if the dollar, okay, if the dollar is going to stay in zone 3, let's see what's going to happen, say, to the euro US dollar. Let's take a look, see what's happening there. So let's just go ahead, bring up euro US dollar. All right, so here is the euro US dollar, and we do have the euro US dollar in zone 1. Zone 1 is our bullish area. It's between the upper blue and the upper red. And you can see we've got actually some blue that's starting to manifest. In other words, and that's after 2 reds. So I just wonder if that's suggesting some sort of dip in the uptrend that may be taking place. And if that's the case, let's go down to the hourly chart and just see if the signals are lining up. And if they're not, what needs to happen for the signals to line up? So let's just go down to the hourly chart and let's go through to euro US dollar. And here we are with the hourly chart. All right, so this is interesting. We did have some crossover here in the early hours of the morning, and we do have the stochastic in the upper quintile. So we may have a swing here. Let's just understand what needs to happen to increase the probabilities of the swing. Well, we would probably need to see some sort of moderation in the US inflation data. And if we get some sort of moderation in the inflation data, after the jobs data on Friday, that would suggest that the June rate cut is indeed becoming more concrete. And if it's becoming more concrete, I think then we potentially have the legs to make a move here. Now, we just want to watch this very carefully. Okay, watch this very carefully. You want to do a dual analysis here. You want to take a look at the US dollar and you want to take a look at the euro, and you want to see the US dollar reacting off of that key resistance. And if the US dollar is acting off of that key resistance, you want to see the euro US dollar holding in the upper quintile here, and then hopefully we get the legs and we get some sort of swing. All right, so whilst the crossovers are still to take place on the US dollar, I'm just going to bring up the US dollar again so everybody is. We still need the crossovers on the US dollar. We're watching that key reaction level. Whilst we're waiting for those crossovers on the US dollar, we do have them on the euro US dollar. Okay, so I'm just bringing up euro US dollar again. Now we just need the stochastic to hold, and if the stochastic holds, then we would have a potential swing here. Excuse me, I just had to cough there. And so a holding of the upper quintile, and then just see if the EMAs straighten out and start moving in that northeasterly direction. Let's take a look at a few other currencies here. Let's take a look at cable now. Let's see how cable's behaving. We'll go straight back to the daily chart, and we'll put in GBP USD. Okay, and what do we have here? Well, we did have cable go briefly overbought. That overbought condition has cleared, so that's good news. And we're back in bullish territory. What we have here is cable traveling in the upper quintile, traveling in the zone 1, that is in the area between the upper blue and the upper red, but we've got some red candlesticks. So again, looking to see if there's going to be a dip in the uptrend that we can potentially take advantage of. Well, if we can take advantage of that, certain things need to happen on the hourly chart. So let's take a look at the cable US dollar hourly chart. Just bringing that up. All right. So we potentially had the dip taking place here, but it's rolled over. Okay, it's rolled over. So the fact that the pound US dollar is coming down just as we start the day, that is interesting, and I think we've got to just be cognizant of the fact that there is underlying support. Let's see if the underlying support holds, and if the zone 1 upper blue upper red does have an influence on the actual hourly chart. All right, and it's just saying there's bad sound quality. Can I just double check that you guys aren't getting the best quality? Is it just localized, or is this for everyone? Just let me know. All right, just while that is coming in, let's take a look and see what's happening on gold. All right, gold is overbought. Let's just see what's happening on the gold chart. All right, so we're on the gold chart here. I am concerned about this overbought condition, because we are overbought on the daily chart. It goes without say that risk management must be a serious consideration before putting on any trades. But let's just see if there is some potential on the hourly chart. So just going through to gold on the hourly chart here. And I'm just going to go ahead and share the tab, and we can see what's happening here is that we, just like the US dollar needs to cross over and put in the support level. So we've got support round about here. Okay, now we are on that support. If that support level holds, what we're going to need on gold is for the EMAs to cross positively. So we'll need to see the green 5-hour exponential moving average cross above the orange 10-hour exponential moving average, and we would need to see the crossover on the stochastic as well. We don't quite have that yet. But if we do get the crossovers, okay, then we would need to see gold move towards the upper quintile. If it starts moving towards the upper quintile, keep an eye on the US dollar chart as well, because we want to see US dollar coming down as gold's moving up. If we've got those correlations in place, I think it makes for a stronger a stronger potential swing. Now, what you can do is you can also just keep an eye on the previous hour's candle. That's the lowest low in at least 3 candles. And then you can see we've got the line in the sand just about there. Okay, so if we cross above the high from the last hour, so if we close above 2177, 2177.10, if we close above that, then we've got the bullish reference candle set in on the hourly. That might just be a precursor for the crossover on the EMAs. So we want to see dollar crossing positively. We want to see gold crossing positively. We want to see dollar crossing negatively. We want to see euro staying in the upper quintile, pushing higher. Cable, out of all the charts we've looked at, cable is the one that I'm least comfortable with because we had that big movement down. Let's see if the cable support level holds. All right, let's just take a look and see how the risk markets are due to open this morning. Let's take a look at the DAX. Let's go ahead and look at DAX on the daily chart. Okay. So what we have here is we've got DAX in zone 1. That's between the upper blue and the upper red. So I'm just going to go and mute for a moment. Sorry, I had a cough again. I beg your pardon. So we've got the DAX in zone 1. That's between the upper blue and the upper red. And the daily overbought conditions cleared. So that is positive. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to see if there is some sort of signal on the hourly chart that perhaps synchronizes with the daily chart. So let's go down to the DAX hourly. So as we are heading into the cash open, there is some selling going on. The cash open is going to open in less than a minute. So there is some nice movement up here in terms of swing. Okay, there's the swing. At the same time, you've got the stochastic in that upper quintile. Okay, let's just fix that up. So as long as we hold in the upper quintile here, then there's going to be some underlying support for the DAX. What we're going to have to see is we're going to have to see the kinks, so to speak. Those kinks will have to iron themselves out, and we'll have to start moving in that northeasterly direction. If the stochastic drops below 80, okay, if the DAX stochastic drops below 80, the momentum is starting to come off as we start the day. Okay, so let us just keep let's just keep an eye. Here we go. Here's the cash open starting. Let's just keep an eye on whether the stochastic can maintain the quintile, and if it does, then of course we should have some sort of underlying momentum support. Okay, so let's conclude at this point. I apologize if the sound was crackly. My apologies. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have a better sound quality. If there's any questions, now's the time to go ahead and write them into the chat. Otherwise, we'll conclude at this point. Just going to wait a few seconds. Okay. Let's conclude here, guys. Have a good day, a good evening ahead, and looking forward to chatting with you again tomorrow morning. Thanks very much, guys.